Hello there, and welcome to The Sleepy Scientist. Tonight we drift into warm summer darkness, where the air is soft, the world is slow, and tiny lanterns of living light rise gently from the grass. Fireflies appear quietly, one small glow at a time, turning night into a field of floating stars. They do not rush, they do not shine all at once, they blink in patient rhythms, as if the darkness itself is breathing in light. Before we begin, allow your body to rest a little deeper. Let your shoulders relax. Let your breathing become slow and steady. Let the quiet of the night settle around you. Imagine standing beside a warm meadow at dusk, the sky dimming gently, the air filled with stillness. Then one soft light appears, then another, then many more, drifting calmly through the dark. Tonight we will wander through the peaceful science of fireflies, how they create their light, why they glow, how their slow signals move through warm summer air, and how these tiny living stars remind the mind to slow down and the body to rest. If you enjoy these quiet journeys into the softer side of nature, you're always welcome to like, subscribe, and return whenever you need calm. But for now, let the lights drift. Let the world quiet down. And let your mind grow still. Let's begin. Fireflies do not use electricity to create their light. Their glow is born from a quiet chemical dance inside their bodies where oxygen meets a natural compound called luciferin. When these elements touch, light appears without heat, without flame, and without sound. This type of light is called cold light because almost no energy is lost as warmth. The firefly shines without burning. It glows without harming itself. It is one of nature's softest and most efficient lanterns. Each firefly species carries its own unique rhythm of light. Some blink once and pause for several seconds. Others pulse twice in quick succession. Some stretch their glow into long floating trails. These rhythms are not random. They are gentle languages spoken through darkness. Each pattern is a message drifting through the air, quietly saying who they are and where they are without using a single sound. Firefly light is controlled by the flow of oxygen inside their tiny bodies. When oxygen enters special cells, the light turns on. When the oxygen supply slows, the light gently fades. This allows the firefly to blink instead of shining constantly. The light becomes a breath rather than a flame. On, off. On again, slow and steady, like the soft blinking of stars near the horizon. Fireflies glow most often during warm evenings because their bodies work best in gentle heat. Cool air slows their chemistry. Warm air allows their inner light to move freely. This is why fireflies feel so closely tied to summer nights. Their glow is shaped by warmth. Their language depends on comfort. Their presence belongs to calm weather and open skies. Not every firefly is a single drifting light. Many species glow together in quiet harmony. In some forests, thousands of fireflies pulse at the same time. Their lights rise and fall together like a slow breathing blanket across the trees. This synchronization is not forced. It emerges naturally as each tiny body adjusts its rhythm to the ones around it. One light learns from another, until the whole landscape begins to glow as one. Firefly light is not only for beauty, it is also a form of protection. Many fireflies carry gentle chemical defenses inside their bodies that taste unpleasant to predators. Their glow acts as a warning sign in the darkness. The light quietly says that they are not meant to be eaten. It is a signal that keeps them safe without needing speed or strength. Fireflies begin their lives not as glowing wings but as slow-moving larvae hidden beneath the soil. These young fireflies spend months quietly feeding and growing in darkness before they ever shine. Their early life is patient and slow. They move through the world without light until the moment arrives when they rise into the air and finally begin to glow. The glow of a firefly does not travel far through heavy air. It floats softly. It drifts. It fades gently at the edge of vision. This limited reach makes every flash feel personal. Each light feels close. Each glow feels meant for that exact moment and that exact place. Fireflies never flood the sky with brightness. They decorate it with whispers of light. Fireflies do not blink to guide themselves through the air. They do not use light to see where they are going. Their glowing is meant for communication and signaling. They fly by instinct and memory. The light floats outward for others to witness. Their movement is guided by feeling rather than vision. Their glow is shared, not used. Fireflies often gather near still water because the air there remains warmer and softer through the night. Moisture holds heat gently. It supports their chemistry. It softens their flight. This is why they are often seen glowing near rivers, near ponds, near quiet wetlands where warmth lingers after sunset. Firefly light begins as a soft yellow but can appear green or pale gold depending on the species. Each colour carries the same calm quality. None are harsh, none are sharp. Their colours rest gently on the eyes. They do not demand attention. They invite it slowly. Fireflies carry their light inside a small lantern-like organ located beneath their abdomen. This space is made of special reflective tissue that directs the glow outward instead of letting it disappear inside the body. The light is shaped gently by layers of cells that act like mirrors, guiding each soft flash into the open air. The result is a glow that feels intentional without ever feeling forced, as if the firefly is offering its light to the night rather than producing it for itself. As fireflies drift through the air, their wings move so quietly that they do not interrupt the stillness of the evening. Their flight is light and unhurried, guided by warm air currents rather than strong muscle effort. When they rise from the grass, it feels less like takeoff and more like lifting into a current that already exists. Their movement pairs naturally with their glow, creating the sense that light itself has learned how to float. Fireflies respond gently to the brightness of the moon. On nights when moonlight is strong, their blinking often becomes softer and less frequent. The brightness of the sky shares the visual space with their glow, and the fireflies seem to rest more within the background rather than standing out against it. On darker nights, when the moon is hidden or absent, their lights appear brighter, as if the night itself has leaned in closer to watch. The light of a firefly does not remain constant during its life. As the insect grows older, its glow often becomes slower and softer. The rhythm stretches, the pauses grow longer, the brightness dims slightly. This quiet change feels gentle rather than fading. It is as if the light learns how to rest as the firefly itself begins to tire of flight. Fireflies communicate through timing rather than speed. They wait between blinks with long patience. The space between flashes often matters more than the flash itself. This teaches a quiet truth about nature. Meaning is not only carried in what appears, it is also carried in what waits between appearances. Fireflies speak through pause as much as through light. The air that surrounds a firefly plays an important role in shaping its glow. Warm moisture helps the light move clearly through space. Dry or cool air can soften and shorten the visible reach. This is why their glow feels different from one night to the next. The sky itself becomes part of their communication. Their messages shift with the breath of the evening. Fireflies rarely glow alone. Even when only one or two are visible at first, more often appear as the night deepens. Their presence encourages one another without sound or movement. One glow invites another. The darkness becomes populated slowly. The meadow fills with light like thoughts filling the mind just before sleep. The places where fireflies live tend to remain quiet even during the day. Tall grasses, slow streams, shaded edges of forests. These spaces hold moisture and temperature gently. They resist sudden change. Fireflies choose environments that reflect their own nature. Soft, steady, undisturbed. A firefly does not create its glow all at once inside its body. The light begins softly inside and releases outward in a smooth continuation rather than a sudden burst. This gives each blink a rounded feeling rather than a sharp one. The light rises, it rests, it fades, like breath moving through the body. Fireflies live short adult lives compared to how long they grow in darkness beneath the soil. Their glowing season is brief compared to their unseen preparation. This gives their light a gentle rarity. When they appear, they feel precious, fleeting, meant to be witnessed quietly rather than captured. Fireflies do not rush their evening arrival. As the sky dims from blue to violet and then into deep indigo, their first lights often appear slowly, one soft glow at a time. There is no sudden swarm, no dramatic entrance. Instead, the night seems to gently invite them forward. A single pulse appears near the grass, then another farther back, then one drifting above the meadow. Their arrival feels less like insects emerging and more like the darkness slowly remembering how to shimmer. The glow of a firefly is powered by energy that comes from the same slow chemical processes that sustain its body. Every blink costs the firefly a small amount of energy, yet it gives that energy away freely in the form of light. It does not glow for survival alone. It glows to communicate. It glows to connect. In this way, each tiny light becomes a quiet expression of sharing rather than taking. When fireflies rest on leaves between flashes, their bodies remain almost invisible. Only when the light appears do they become visible in the air. This creates the impression that the light itself is moving independently through space. The insect disappears, the glow floats, then the body returns only to vanish again in the next pause. To watch fireflies is to watch visibility itself come and go. Fireflies are most active during the calmest part of the evening when winds fall quiet and the air settles into gentle stillness. Strong winds scatter their flight and break their rhythm. They wait instinctively for peaceful air. Their timing follows the mood of the evening rather than the position of the clock. They appear when the world feels ready for softness. Male fireflies often fly low above the ground while glowing, sending their signals outward like drifting lanterns. Female fireflies usually remain still on leaves or grasses as they observe the light patterns around them. Their communication happens through quiet exchange, glow and pause, response and wait. There is no chase, only gentle conversation through rhythm. In areas where fireflies return year after year, their presence becomes part of the memory of summer itself. People remember the glow as part of childhood, as part of warm evenings, as part of quiet laughter and open windows. Fireflies do not just live in fields and forests, they live in human memory as soft points of light that never fully fade. The glow of a firefly does not illuminate the entire landscape. It only touches what is nearest. A blade of grass, the edge of a leaf, a drifting petal. This limited reach keeps the night mostly dark. Fireflies never overpower darkness. They simply decorate it with brief moments of visibility. Their light respects the night rather than conquering it. Fireflies fly in gentle arcs rather than sharp angles. Their path through the air is curved and floating. They follow warm currents and quiet spaces. Their movement does not cut through the night. It slides through it. This is why watching them feels soothing rather than stimulating. Their motion carries no edges. In places far from artificial lights, firefly glow appears brighter and more numerous. Without streetlights or buildings to dilute the darkness, their small lights become the main visible points in the landscape. Each blink feels clearer. Each pulse carries farther. Darkness allows their light to feel meaningful rather than lost. Fireflies are extremely sensitive to changes in their environment. Excess noise, bright artificial light, chemical changes in the soil. All of these can softly silence a firefly population without warning. Their disappearance often happens quietly. One year there is glow, the next year there is absence. This fragility makes each visible firefly feel precious and temporary in the most gentle way. When firefly season begins to fade, their lights do not stop suddenly. The number simply decreases slowly across evenings. Fewer glows appear, the rhythm thins, the field returns to darkness gradually rather than all at once. Their farewell mirrors their arrival, soft, slow, almost unnoticed unless one is quietly watching. Fireflies belong to a rhythm that is older than cities and quieter than memory. Their appearance each evening follows a gentle timetable shaped by temperature, moisture, and the slow dimming of the sky rather than by the ticking of hours. As the sun releases its hold on the horizon and the heat stored in the ground begins to soften, fireflies rise from grass and shadow without urgency. Their bodies respond to the atmosphere the way breath responds to calm. They do not fight the night, they emerge with it. Their presence feels as natural as the first star appearing in the twilight. Even before they glow, they're already part of the stillness. Then one light appears, then another, as if the darkness itself is learning how to speak in quiet pulses. Watching this slow beginning gently resets the mind into a pace that belongs to nature rather than urgency. The way a firefly creates light is one of the most energy-efficient processes known in the natural world. Almost all of the chemical energy inside its body becomes visible light rather than heat. This means its glow is pure expression with no wasted warmth. Inside the small lantern beneath its abdomen, layers of reflective cells guide the chemical reaction outward so that the light leaves the body smoothly and evenly. There is no flicker of fire, no violent spark, only a steady glow shaped by intention rather than force. This efficiency makes their light feel controlled, gentle, and purposeful. It does not dominate the darkness, it rests within it, invited rather than imposed. This is why the glow never tires the eyes. It feels like a natural resting point for vision. Fireflies do not rush their communication. Their language is built from patience. A blink is followed by waiting. A message is followed by listening. The pause between lights is as meaningful as the light itself. In this way, fireflies teach an ancient lesson without words. Connection is not found in constant motion, but in shared timing. One firefly sends a signal, another receives it and responds only after the proper pause. The space between them is as important as the signal. This rhythm creates a slow conversation that floats across fields and forest edges without haste or pressure. The entire exchange happens in silence, yet meaning passes clearly through the dark. The lifespan of an adult firefly is short compared to the long preparation it undergoes beneath the soil. For many months, sometimes years, the firefly exists unseen as a larva hidden within the damp earth. It grows slowly in darkness, it feeds quietly, it waits through cold seasons and warm ones without revealing itself. Only when the time is right does it emerge into the air and begin to glow. This long unseen life gives the adult light a feeling of quiet purpose. The glow is not rushed because it was patiently earned. Their short season of flight feels significant because it rises from such long invisibility. Their light carries the weight of deep preparation without ever feeling heavy. Fireflies do not see their light the way we see it. The glow is meant for others. It is projected outward for communication rather than inward for navigation. This means when a firefly is blinking, it is offering rather than receiving. It is sharing presence rather than using illumination for itself. This outward nature of their glow gives it a generous quality. Each light is an offering to the night, a whisper of presence sent into darkness without demand. The glow asks nothing in return, it simply exists to be seen by another of its kind. This giving nature is what makes their light feel gentle rather than urgent. Fireflies are deeply connected to living landscapes. They need soft soil, moist air, undisturbed ground. Their glow depends on ecosystems that are calm and balanced. When grasses grow freely, when forest edges remain shaded, when water moves slowly nearby, where the land is still allowed to rest, fireflies return. Their disappearance is often silent when those spaces vanish. Their presence is a quiet measure of environmental calm. Where fireflies glow, the world has not been rushed too far. Their light becomes a soft signal that the earth is still holding its balance. Fireflies are living reminders that light does not always arrive with heat, noise, or force. Inside their small bodies, a quiet chemical exchange takes place where oxygen meets a natural compound and produces light without flame. There is no burning, no smoke, no residue, just a soft glow that appears and disappears like a breath. This type of light is known as cold light, and nearly all of the energy becomes visible brightness rather than wasted heat. Nature in the firefly reveals one of its most efficient designs. The glow does not exhaust the insect, it sustains it. The light feels calm because it is born from balance rather than combustion. Fireflies do not burst into the night all at once. Their arrival unfolds slowly as the sky dims. First one glow appears low in the grass, then another farther back, then one drifting near the trees. The darkness welcomes them gradually. They rise in stages as if the night itself is opening its eyes one light at a time. This slow gathering teaches the mind how to slow its own arrival into rest. The evening does not demand immediate darkness, it settles into it. The blinking patterns of fireflies are not random expressions of beauty. They are precise languages built from timing and patience. Each species speaks in its own rhythm of light. Some blink once and wait. Some blink twice quickly. Some draw out long glowing arcs through the air. These patterns drift through the darkness like sentences written in light. Other fireflies listen. They respond only when the rhythm aligns. Communication unfolds without sound, without hurry, without confusion. The night becomes a quiet conversation between distant points of light. Fireflies move through the air as if they are following invisible rivers of warmth. Their wings beat softly, guided more by temperature and moisture than by effort. Warm air lifts them gently upward. Still air allows them to drift without interruption. Their flight does not slice through space, it glides through it. Watching them feels less like observing insects and more like watching the night itself learn how to float. Beneath the soil where fireflies begin their lives, they spend long seasons in silence as larvae. They grow unseen, they feed slowly, they move through darkness without ever imagining light. Months pass, sometimes years. Their glowing life above ground is brief compared to this hidden preparation. When their light finally appears, it carries the quiet weight of all that unseen waiting. Their glow feels precious because it rises from such deep invisibility. Firefly light does not illuminate the world broadly. It touches only what lies closest to it. A blade of grass, the rim of a leaf, a drifting dust particle. Everything else remains wrapped in darkness. This is why their glow never overwhelms. It respects night rather than competing with it. The darkness remains dominant. The light simply decorates it with momentary awareness. Fireflies are most active when the air is calm and warm. Strong winds scatter their flight and disrupt their rhythm. Heavy cold slows their internal chemistry. They wait for evenings that feel gentle. Their presence follows comfort rather than clocks. When conditions soften, they rise. When discomfort returns, they vanish without protest. Their behavior mirrors the nervous system when it chooses rest over effort. Firefly populations quietly reflect the health of the land. They thrive in places where soil remains moist, where grasses grow freely, where light pollution is low, where chemical disturbance is minimal. When a landscape becomes too loud, too bright, or too altered, fireflies fade without announcement. Their disappearance arrives silently. Their return arrives just as quietly when balance is restored. Fireflies do not glow to see their own path. Their light is not for navigation, it is for others. The glow is sent outward into the darkness as an offering rather than a tool. This outward nature gives their light a generous quality. Each pulse exists not for convenience but for connection. The firefly shines so that something else may respond. As firefly season draws toward its end, the glows thin gradually. Fewer lights appear each night. The darkness grows wider again. There is no sudden farewell, no sharp ending. The lights simply become rarer until one evening arrives when none appear at all. The goodbye mirrors their arrival, slow, quiet, almost unnoticed unless one is paying gentle attention. Fireflies live between seasons. They belong neither fully to day nor to night. They rise in twilight. They linger in warm darkness. They vanish before deep night grows old. Their existence occupies the quiet border between states. This is why their presence feels dreamy. They appear in the world when everything else is already beginning to rest. Fireflies continue their quiet life cycle in a way that feels more like a slow unfolding than a series of stages. After their gentle season of glowing flight fades, they leave behind tiny eggs hidden in soil and leaf litter. These eggs rest in darkness without urgency. They do not hurry into the world. When the time is right, the larvae emerge silently beneath the surface and begin their slow, unseen journey again. In this way, the firefly never truly disappears. It only retreats into shadow to begin another long preparation for light. Firefly larvae are soft, glowing creatures even before they ever learn to fly. Beneath the soil and fallen leaves, their bodies emit a faint, steady glow that is much dimmer than the adult light but still present. This hidden glow remains unseen to human eyes most of the time because it exists underground. The earth itself becomes a shelter for light. Even in darkness, even in soil, the firefly carries a small, quiet lantern within. Fireflies choose their resting places with instinctive care. When they pause between flights, they settle on leaves that hold warmth and balance. They avoid surfaces that steal heat too quickly. They rest where moisture softens the air just enough to keep their bodies at ease. These small choices help them preserve energy. Their entire existence is shaped by the delicate art of conservation rather than excess. The chemistry of firefly light remains stable across every blink. Each time oxygen enters the lantern cells, the same precise reaction occurs. There is no randomness, no distortion. The glow remains clean and pure through repetition. Even across thousands of flashes, the light does not degrade in quality. This steady consistency gives their glow a feeling of calm reliability rather than unpredictability. Fireflies are sensitive to even small shifts in atmospheric pressure. Before storms arrive, their activity often slows. The air grows heavy. Their chemistry responds by conserving motion. They remain closer to the ground. Their lights dim earlier in the evening. The sky gently warns them long before thunder speaks. Their behavior reflects quiet awareness rather than reaction. Firefly light does not scatter violently through space. It moves softly through moisture in the air. Tiny particles of humidity catch and bend the glow. This creates faint halos that soften the edges of each blink. The light never feels sharp. It floats through the atmosphere as if cushioned by breath. Even the air collaborates in keeping their glow gentle. Fireflies do not compete with one another through brightness. They communicate through timing rather than power. A brighter flash does not dominate a scene. A perfectly timed pause often carries more meaning than intensity. This quiet language prevents chaos. It maintains order without force. The meadow fills with signals that never clash. Fireflies show us that visibility does not require permanence. Their light appears briefly and vanishes again into darkness. Nothing remains except memory. The absence of their glow feels as meaningful as its presence. This rhythm of appearing and disappearing mirrors the natural flow of thoughts as the mind drifts towards sleep. Something arises, then gently fades again. Firefly wings reflect their own light faintly as they move. When a blink occurs mid-flight, the glow brushes along the translucent edges of their wings. The moving reflection creates a soft trailing shimmer that lingers for a fraction of a second after the light fades. The firefly seems to leave a quiet signature behind in the darkness. Fireflies are unaware of the wonder they create. They do not glow to enchant, they glow to communicate. Yet the effect reaches far beyond their intention. Humans pause to watch. Children remember them for life. Even the night itself seems altered by their presence. The smallest light creates the widest impact without effort or awareness. Fireflies carry their light in a way that never startles the darkness. When the glow appears, it rises softly rather than bursting into view. The light seems to emerge from within the night itself instead of interrupting it. This is why watching fireflies never feels overwhelming to the eyes. The darkness remains in control. The glow simply becomes a quiet companion that drifts through it for a moment and then returns gently to shadow. The flight of a firefly is guided more by the feelings of the air than by direction or destination. They move through invisible temperature currents that lift and guide their bodies without resistance. Warm air becomes a pathway. Still air becomes a resting space. Their movement is shaped by conditions rather than intention. They float where comfort leads them. They pause where ease allows them to rest. Fireflies do not exhaust themselves through movement. Their entire existence is built around conserving energy through stillness between motion. They remain hidden and quiet for long stretches of the day. When evening arrives, they glow and drift only for brief moments before resting again. This rhythm of brief activity followed by deep rest keeps their small bodies balanced within the narrow margins of their fragile lives. When many fireflies glow together in one meadow, there is no central leader guiding the rhythm. Each firefly adjusts subtly to the light patterns around it. The collective harmony rises through quiet adjustment rather than command. One timing shift leads to another. Gradually, the entire group settles into shared motion. The synchronization feels effortless because it emerges through listening rather than control. Fireflies are drawn to areas where the soil remains soft and alive with microbial activity. The same living soil that nourishes roots and fungi also supports the hidden early stages of firefly life. Beneath the surface, firefly larvae move slowly through damp earth where food is abundant and temperature remains steady. The life above ground depends entirely on the quiet life below. In places where artificial light fills the night, fireflies often fall silent without disappearing immediately. Their glow grows fainter. Their rhythm becomes hesitant. Their communication weakens long before the population fades. Light that never rests confuses light that only speaks in darkness. Even gentle lanterns from houses can slowly wash away the language of the field. The stillness of firefly movement teaches the eyes how to slow their own tracking. There is no sharp darting, no sudden turns. The glow drifts. The mind follows without effort. Watching them gently trains the nervous system to release alertness and enter observation without tension. The simple act of following light across shadow becomes a form of rest. Fireflies carry within their bodies the ability to switch light on and off with exquisite control. Oxygen flows into their lantern cells in pulses guided by tiny internal structures. The light does not flicker by chance. Each blink is shaped by deliberate biological timing. The precision of this control creates the smooth rhythm that feels so deeply calming to observe. The darkness in which fireflies glow is never empty. It is filled with scent, with temperature, with moisture, with subtle movement. The firefly glow reveals only the gentlest hints of this unseen world. A leaf edge appears for a moment. A stem emerges briefly from shadow. Then everything returns to invisibility. The light never seeks to reveal everything, but it allows mystery to remain. Fireflies do not rush toward one another when they communicate. The space between them remains respected. Their signals travel through open air without collapsing that distance. Even connection preserves space. This gentle balance between closeness and separation gives their communication a peaceful quality. They remain together without becoming crowded. The presence of fireflies often marks landscapes that still carry quiet continuity from year to year. Places that have not been reshaped too quickly. Fields that have not been sealed under stone. Forest edges that still breathe freely. Their glow becomes a sign that time is still allowed to move at its original pace. When fireflies remain, The land has not forgotten how to rest. Fireflies appear to drift rather than fly, because their bodies are so light that air itself becomes their guide. Even the softest rising warmth from the ground is enough to lift them upward. They do not push against the air with effort. They accept its movement and allow it to carry them slowly. This is why their motion feels weightless and calm. They float through the night the way breath floats through still lungs. The glow of a firefly never lingers aggressively in the eyes. It arrives. It rests for a moment. Then it dissolves quietly back into shadow. There is no harsh transition, no sharp disappearance. The fade is as important as the appearance. This slow exit is what makes the light feel like a natural part of rest rather than a disturbance of it. Fireflies depend on darkness the way stars do. Without darkness, their message is lost. Their language exists only because the background remains quiet and dim. When darkness is preserved, even the smallest glow carries meaning. When darkness is removed, the glow becomes confused and unheard. Their existence teaches that silence is not empty space. It is the canvas that allows gentle things to be understood. The life of a firefly unfolds in soft stages rather than sharp transformations. From egg to larva to adult, each form transitions gradually. There is no sudden leap, no violent change. Their development follows slow biological rhythms, guided by temperature and season rather than urgency. Their entire life is shaped by the acceptance of gradual change. Fireflies glow without needing to chase or compete. There is no race for brightness in their world. Their signals rise and fall without comparison. One does not seek to outshine another. Their communication exists within balance rather than dominance. This absence of competition is one of the reasons their movement feels peaceful instead of frantic. Fireflies rarely collide in flight because their movement is guided by awareness rather than speed. Their bodies respond to shifts in air pressure and temperature. They sense the presence of others before vision is required. Their slow drifting becomes a soft dance of avoidance that unfolds quietly without panic. Every movement feels premeditated by calm. Fireflies are most abundant in places where water settles gently into the land rather than rushing away. Marsh edges, riverbanks, damp forest floors. These environments remain cool and stable even after sunset. The glow of fireflies becomes an extension of these moist, quiet landscapes. Their light seems to rise directly from the damp earth itself. When the night grows cooler toward early morning, firefly activity fades gently rather than stopping abruptly. Their bodies respond to the cooling air by slowing their chemistry. The glow becomes less frequent. The movement becomes heavier. Eventually, the meadow returns to darkness without a clear ending point. Their departure matches their arrival, soft, unannounced, unrushed. Fireflies do not store large amounts of excess energy. Their glow depends on moment-to-moment chemistry rather than long reserves. This means each blink is shaped by the present rather than by stored power. Their light does not come from accumulation. It comes from immediacy, from what is available now. Fireflies remind the nervous system that rhythms do not need to be fast to be meaningful. Their signals travel slowly. Their pauses remain wide. Their communication thrives on stillness rather than speed. Watching them encourages the body to release urgency and return to cycle rather than schedule. Fireflies disappear at dawn not because they fear the light, but because their chemistry rests during daylight. Their glow is not needed when the world is already bright. They retreat into leaves and grasses where they remain quiet and invisible until darkness returns. Their life moves in partnership with the light rather than opposition to it. Fireflies appear to drift rather than fly because their bodies are so light that air itself becomes their guide. Even the softest rising warmth from the ground is enough to lift them upward. They do not push against the air with effort. They accept its movement and allow it to carry them slowly. This is why their motion feels weightless and calm. They float through the night the way breath floats through still lungs. The glow of a firefly never lingers aggressively in the eyes. It arrives. It rests for a moment. Then it dissolves quietly back into shadow. There is no harsh transition, no sharp disappearance. The fade is as important as the appearance. This slow exit is what makes the light feel like a natural part of rest rather than a disturbance of it. Fireflies depend on darkness the way stars do. Without darkness, their message is lost. Their language exists only because the background remains quiet and dim. When darkness is preserved, even the smallest glow carries meaning. When darkness is removed, the glow becomes confused and unheard. Their existence teaches that silence is not empty space. It is the canvas that allows gentle things to be understood. The life of a firefly unfolds in soft stages rather than sharp transformations. From egg to larva to adult, each form transitions gradually. There is no sudden leap, no violent change. Their development follows slow biological rhythms guided by temperature and season rather than urgency. Their entire life is shaped by the acceptance of gradual change. Fireflies glow without needing to chase or compete. There is no race for brightness in their world. Their signals rise and fall without comparison. One does not seek to outshine another. Their communication exists within balance rather than dominance. This absence of competition is one of the reasons their movement feels peaceful instead of frantic. Fireflies rarely collide in flight because their movement is guided by awareness rather than speed. Their bodies respond to shifts in air pressure and temperature. They sense the presence of others before vision is required. Their slow drifting becomes a soft dance of avoidance that unfolds quietly without panic. Every movement feels premeditated by calm. Fireflies are most abundant in places where water settles gently into the land rather than rushing away. Marsh edges, riverbanks, damp forest floors. These environments remain cool and stable even after sunset. The glow of fireflies becomes an extension of these moist, quiet landscapes. Their light seems to rise directly from the damp earth itself. When the night grows cooler toward early morning, firefly activity fades gently rather than stopping abruptly. Their bodies respond to the cooling air by slowing their chemistry. The glow becomes less frequent. The movement becomes heavier. Eventually the meadow returns to darkness without a clear ending point. Their departure matches their arrival, soft, unannounced, unrushed. Fireflies do not store large amounts of excess energy. Their glow depends on moment-to-moment chemistry rather than long reserves. This means each blink is shaped by the present rather than by stored power. Their light does not come from accumulation. It comes from immediacy, from what is available now. Fireflies remind the nervous system that rhythms do not need to be fast to be meaningful. Their signals travel slowly. Their pauses remain wide. Their communication thrives on stillness rather than speed. Watching them encourages the body to release urgency and return to cycle rather than schedule. Fireflies disappear at dawn not because they fear the light, but because their chemistry rests during daylight. Their glow is not needed when the world is already bright. They retreat into leaves and grasses where they remain quiet and invisible until darkness returns. Their life moves in partnership with the light rather than opposition to it. Fireflies seem to hold the quiet memory of ancient nights within their tiny bodies. Long before cities glowed and before artificial light softened the stars, their ancestors signaled through pure darkness in meadows, forests, and wetlands that stretched freely across the land. Their glow today carries that same ancient rhythm forward. Each blink feels like a continuation of nights that existed before human sound and before electric brightness. Watching them now feels like touching a calm memory of the earth as it once was. The light of a firefly never competes with the stars above. It remains low to the ground, near grass, near water, near leaves. Their glow belongs to the earth layer of the night rather than the sky layer. This creates a quiet balance where the heavens remain distant and steady while the land breathes its own soft light beneath. two layers of the night coexist without interruption. Fireflies carry no need to dominate space. Their light does not expand outward aggressively. It remains contained within their immediate surroundings. A small circle of visibility forms around each glow and then dissolves back into darkness. Their presence teaches that it is possible to exist fully without needing excessive reach or attention. The inner chemistry of a firefly remains calm even while producing light. Unlike fire or sparks, the glow does not vibrate with agitation. The reaction occurs smoothly at a controlled pace. There is no explosive release. The body remains balanced and steady during every blink. Their light is born from stability rather than from urgency. Fireflies rarely travel large distances in a single night. Their movement is local and circular. They drift outward and then slowly return toward familiar spaces. Their world remains small and gentle. They do not seek far horizons. They stay within the quiet comfort of known grasses and familiar leaves. Their lives unfold within a soft landscape of repetition. The rhythm of firefly blinking often slows as the night grows deeper. Early evening pulses feel lively yet gentle. As midnight approaches, the intervals stretch. Blinks become less frequent. The field gradually returns to stillness. Their light follows the body's natural descent toward rest rather than resisting it. Fireflies respond to atmospheric silence. When sounds soften and movement in the environment fades, their glow often becomes more noticeable. The quieter the world grows, the louder their light feels without making sound. Stillness amplifies them not by brightness but by contrast. Fireflies do not glow from excitement. Their light is not an expression of emotional energy. It is a biological function guided by chemistry and rhythm. Yet the interpretation of their glow by human eyes becomes layered with emotion. Calm, wonder, soft joy, memory. The firefly does not create feeling, it invites it. The firefly's glow lasts only a fraction of a second, yet its presence in memory can last a lifetime. One quiet childhood evening, one warm night beside water, one slow walk through a dark meadow. A few drifting points of light become permanent impressions inside the mind. Their physical presence is brief. Their internal echo is endless. When fireflies disappear at the end of their season, the land does not feel empty. It feels as though a gentle visitor has quietly gone to rest. The silence that follows is soft rather than abrupt. The darkness feels wider, the air feels calmer. The field returns to its original stillness without loss. Fireflies do not demand to be understood through science alone. Their glow exists equally within biology and within feeling. They live at the intersection of chemistry and peace, reaction and rhythm, structure and softness. Their presence reminds us that knowledge and calm do not oppose one another. They quietly exist together in one small moving light. Fireflies experience the night as a landscape of temperature rather than as a landscape of sight. Their tiny bodies sense warmth and coolness with far more importance than brightness. As the air cools after sunset, invisible pathways of comfortable temperature form above grass, near water, and along tree lines. Fireflies drift along these quiet thermal paths without ever needing to see them. Their flight becomes a slow conversation with the air itself, guided by comfort rather than direction. Fireflies never produce light continuously for long periods, because constant glow would disrupt their body's internal balance. Continuous light would overwork their chemistry and drain their energy too quickly. Instead, they glow in gentle pulses that allow rest between each expression. Their biology mirrors the same principle that allows deep sleep in larger beings. Activity must always be followed by stillness in order for life to remain gentle and sustainable. Fireflies respond not only to temperature and darkness, but also to the softness of sound in their surroundings. Loud vibration alters their flight patterns and shortens their glowing moments. In quiet environments, their light lasts longer and their movement becomes more relaxed. This means fireflies thrive best in landscapes where the night remains still enough for sound to settle and dissolve rather than echo sharply. Fireflies do not form colonies in the way ants or bees do. Their societies are loose and gentle. Their connections exist through awareness rather than structure. They do not serve a central figure or follow a strict hierarchy. The organisation forms and dissolves nightly through rhythm alone. Each evening becomes a new, quiet arrangement shaped by timing rather than command. Fireflies experience gravity very differently than heavier insects. Their movement through the air feels slowed not only by their size but by the way their wings interact with warm evening currents. They fall through air so slowly that their descent often feels indistinguishable from hovering. This slow relationship with gravity is part of what gives their movement such a dreamlike quality. Fireflies that rest on leaves often pause their glow completely for long stretches of time. During these quiet moments, they become indistinguishable from their surroundings. Only when they choose to blink again do they reappear within the night. This cycle of visibility and invisibility allows them to exist without being constantly known. They move between presence and absence with perfect ease. Fireflies do not respond to impatience. If another firefly sends a signal too quickly or repeatedly without pause, the message is often ignored. Their language requires patience in order to be understood. Communication only succeeds when rhythm slows enough to be received. This rule of timing governs every exchange of light in the meadow. Fireflies experience the passage of evening as a gradual deepening rather than as a sharp transition. They rise with twilight. They drift through darkness. They retreat before dawn brightens the sky again. Their entire active life unfolds within this narrow window of dimness. They never rush through it. They move at the pace that the sky provides. Fireflies do not react to the night as a threat. They do not glow in fear. Their light is not a warning of danger for themselves. It is a controlled expression of inner chemistry that remains steady even in darkness. Their glow teaches that darkness itself does not always require defense. Sometimes, it only requires quiet presence. Fireflies carry tiny traces of the light they produced long after the glow fades due to chemical remnants inside the lantern cells. This means that even in complete darkness, their bodies briefly remember being bright. The memory of light lingers longer than the light itself. The body holds onto glow more gently than the eye does. Fireflies move through the same airspace that once carried the breath of countless nights before them. Every drift, every pulse of light occurs within an atmosphere shaped by centuries of quiet evenings. They share air with crickets, with wind, with distant wings, with unseen movement. Their glow is not isolated. It becomes part of a long, shared night that extends beyond any single life. Fireflies do not feel the night as a single moment but as a slow unfolding of changing air, moving shadows and drifting warmth. As dusk settles, the air cools in layers rather than all at once. Fireflies respond to these layers like swimmers entering gentle water. They rise when the upper air becomes comfortable. They rest when cooler currents settle near the ground. Their movement follows invisible comfort zones rather than visible routes. The night becomes a series of soft temperature rooms they drift through without ever knowing their borders. Fireflies never fully stop being sensitive to light even while producing it. Their eyes remain tuned to changes in brightness around them. A passing cloud, a distant porch lamp, the rising moon, all of these subtly influence how often they blink and where they choose to fly. Their light does not isolate them from their surroundings. It deepens their awareness of it. They glow while still listening to darkness. Fireflies do not remember individual evenings the way humans remember events. Their memory exists in instinct rather than detail. Each night feels familiar not because they recall the last one, but because their bodies recognize the same conditions returning: warmth, moisture, dimness. These sensations guide them into the same patterns without needing conscious memory. Their lives remain rooted in recognition rather than recollection. Fireflies have no need to hurry into connection. Their signals drift outward without expectation of immediate response. A long pause may follow a blink without causing loss or urgency. If another firefly answers, the exchange continues gently. If none respond, the glow still dissolves peacefully into darkness. Their communication holds space for both response and silence without tension. Fireflies exist comfortably within incomplete information. They never see the entire landscape at once. They glimpse only fragments of the world with each glow, a leaf edge now, a blade of grass next, then darkness again. Their lives unfold without the need for a full picture. They trust the partial view provided by one moment of light at a time. This quiet trust allows them to live without anxiety about what remains unseen. Fireflies do not glow at the same strength throughout their life, even within the same season. Their light subtly reflects internal health, energy reserves, and age. A slightly softer glow does not mean weakness. It means balance shifting toward rest. Their bodies speak truthfully through light without ever becoming dramatic about it. Fireflies do not separate themselves from the soundscape of night. Their movement aligns naturally with the rhythm of crickets, frogs, and distant water. Though they produce no sound themselves, their flight often rises during quiet intervals between louder calls. Their silence threads gently between other sounds instead of colliding with them. The night orchestra makes room for their quiet presence. Fireflies experience space not as distance but as intervals of safe air between points of contact. The gaps between trees, the openings between grasses, the softened space above water. These intervals guide their flight more than faraway destinations. Their motion becomes a sequence of small, safe spaces rather than long-traveled distances. Fireflies never carry light into hurried motion. When their bodies need to accelerate suddenly, their glow often pauses. Light belongs to calm movement. Speed belongs to invisibility. This separation ensures that their glow remains associated with ease rather than alertness. The light becomes a signature of softness rather than rapid escape. Fireflies do not use their glow during the day even when hidden beneath leaves. Their chemistry rests completely while sunlight governs the sky. The glow is reserved for darkness only. This clear separation gives their light a sacred nightly feeling. It is never diluted by daylight. It arrives only when the world is ready to receive quiet illumination. Fireflies do not resist the end of their season. As temperatures fall and nights shorten, their glow simply thins. Fewer bodies rise. The air remains darker. The field restores its old silence without drama. The fireflies do not struggle to remain. They leave as gently as they arrived. Their absence feels like rest rather than loss. Fireflies experience the night as a world of gentle gradients rather than sharp boundaries. The difference between light and dark, warm and cool, movement and stillness all blend softly together around them. Their bodies respond to these gradients with subtle adjustments in flight height, blinking rhythm, and resting time. Nothing changes suddenly in their world. Everything shifts gradually. This is why their presence always feels natural and unforced, as if they belong perfectly within the slow breathing of evening. Fireflies do not grow accustomed to artificial light in the same way humans do. Their bodies never truly adapt to constant brightness. Even low levels of ambient light can soften their blinking patterns and shorten their active time. Their chemistry expects darkness as a partner. Without it, their rhythm becomes confused rather than adjusted. This deep dependence on darkness reveals how much their life is built around rest rather than visibility. Fireflies follow invisible scent trails left behind by plants, soil, and water. These chemical traces guide them toward familiar resting zones without the need for sight. Their movement becomes a gentle drifting through layered smells that the human nose never notices. The night becomes a map of quiet signals that lead them home again and again without effort. Fireflies do not separate rest from movement. Even while flying, their bodies remain in a state of calm balance. There is no tension stored in their muscles. Their wings beat with effortless regularity. Their glow arrives without strain. Their entire being remains soft even while moving through space. This is why watching them never feels tiring to the eye or the mind. Fireflies never signal continuously for long periods even when surrounded by many others. Their bodies instinctively prevent overexpression. After several glows, a longer pause always follows. This natural braking system keeps the entire meadow from becoming overstimulated. The rhythm breathes in and breathes out rather than building endlessly. Fireflies respond gently to shifts in humidity. When moisture rises after sunset, their glow often becomes clearer and lasts slightly longer. When air grows dry, their blinking shortens and softens. Their light is shaped not only by chemistry, but by the invisible weight of water in the air. Even humidity becomes part of their quiet language. Fireflies never appear alone in memory. They're almost always remembered within a feeling. Warm grass, soft laughter, still water, distant voices. Their glow becomes tied to emotional landscapes rather than to specific visual details. This is why memories of fireflies feel soft rather than sharp. They live inside atmosphere rather than inside images. Fireflies do not glow at the moment of greatest darkness in the night. Their peak activity happens earlier, when some remaining twilight still lingers in the sky. Their light bridges the fading of day and the settling of night. They arrive during the handoff between worlds rather than in complete blackness. Their timing feels symbolic even though it is purely instinctual. Fireflies do not seek stillness. They belong to it. They do not try to quiet the world around them. They appear only when the world has already softened enough to receive them. Their arrival marks a threshold where motion has slowed naturally rather than being forced into calm. Fireflies do not alter their environment the way many animals do. They leave no tracks, they cut no paths, they build no structures. Their presence passes through the landscape without changing its shape. They move like light itself, existing fully without reshaping what holds them. Fireflies do not fear the return of daylight. They simply retreat from it. Their glow rests while the sun holds the sky. Their bodies remain inside grasses and leaves where shadow continues. They accept brightness without resistance and return again only when darkness invites them back. Their life flows with light rather than against it. Fireflies do not experience the night as empty space, but as a living atmosphere filled with gentle movement, soft warmth, and invisible currents of air. Their bodies remain in constant quiet conversation with this atmosphere. Every tiny shift in temperature or moisture is felt immediately through their wings and abdomen. They glide not through nothingness, but through a living medium that carries them softly from one breath of the evening to the next. Their flight becomes an interaction rather than a journey. Fireflies do not glow at random heights. Their light usually remains close to the layers of air where life gathers most densely, just above the grasses, along the edges of shrubs, near slow water where moisture lingers. Their glow stays near the breathing layer of the land where insects, plants, and soil exchange quiet energy. This keeps their light close to life itself, rather than lifted toward empty sky. Fireflies sense vibration through the surfaces they rest upon. Leaves, stems, bark, all carry faint movements that travel through plant tissue. When wind passes through a meadow, or when distant footsteps disturb the ground, these vibrations ripple upward through the plants. Fireflies feel these movements not as threats but as changes in the resting pattern beneath their feet. Their awareness extends through touch rather than sight. Fireflies do not make decisions quickly. Their bodies respond through gradual adjustments rather than sudden choices. A slight change in air temperature may lead to a slow change in flight height. A subtle shift in humidity may lead to fewer blinks over time. Their behavior unfolds as a slow dialogue with conditions, rather than as immediate reactions. Fireflies exist within time differently than humans do. Their sense of duration is shaped by chemistry and rhythm rather than by memory of yesterday or anticipation of tomorrow. Each night arrives complete in itself. They do not carry forward emotional weight from previous evenings. Every dusk arrives as a fresh unfolding without burden. Fireflies carry microscopic reflective crystals within their lantern cells that help direct light outward. These structures act like tiny inner mirrors that prevent the glow from being wasted inside the body. This internal architecture ensures the light emerges smoothly and evenly rather than scattering unpredictably. Even their smallest anatomy is shaped for gentleness and efficiency. Fireflies do not glow equally in all directions. Most of their light is directed downward and outward rather than upward. This helps keep their signals within the layer of air where other fireflies travel. Their light remains a message intended for nearby receivers rather than a broadcast into open sky. Fireflies are aware of stillness in the environment long before humans notice it. When the evening settles and air movement slows, their glow often begins moments later. If the land remains unsettled with wind or disturbance, their appearance delays. They respond to the world's readiness for calm rather than forcing themselves into motion. Fireflies do not experience loneliness the way humans often do. Even when only one glow is visible, the air usually carries many unseen companions beyond sight. Their world is filled with presence even when it appears visually empty. Their connection exists beyond what the eye can follow. Fireflies do not disrupt the rhythms of the night. They align with them. Their glow rises between cricket calls. Their movement pauses between gusts of wind. Their presence fits into the existing lull rather than breaking it. They belong to the negative space of sound and motion where stillness resides. Fireflies never seek to dominate attention. Their glow remains small. Their movement remains slow. Their presence remains optional to notice. They allow the observer to choose stillness rather than demand fascination. This quiet humility is what makes their wonder feel safe for the resting mind. Fireflies experience rest as an active part of their life rather than as a pause between moments. During the long daylight hours when they remain hidden in grasses and leaves, their bodies enter a true state of recovery. Their chemistry settles, their energy refills slowly, their light rests completely. This long resting phase is not wasted time. It is the quiet foundation that allows their glow to return each evening without strain. Their life teaches that rest is not the absence of living but the preparation for gentle expression. Fireflies never hurry back into the air once they have landed. When they settle onto a leaf, they often remain still for long periods without blinking. Their wings fold softly against their bodies. Their glow disappears entirely during these rests. They become part of the plant itself for a while. This blending into stillness allows the land to hold them without distinction between insect and leaf. Fireflies move through the night without urgency because their lives are shaped by cyclic return rather than linear progress. Each evening resembles the one before it. There is no single destination they must reach. There is only the gentle repetition of emergence and rest. Their existence flows in circles rather than lines. This circular rhythm naturally removes pressure from their movement. Fireflies do not seek the center of attention in their environment. Even when many glow together, their light never forms a harsh focus point. The brightness spreads evenly across the field. No single glow dominates. The meadow becomes a shared space of soft illumination rather than a stage for any one presence. Fireflies experience light as a shared condition rather than a possession. Their glow belongs as much to the air as it does to their bodies. Once released, the light drifts outward and becomes part of the surrounding darkness. It no longer belongs to the insect that created it. It belongs to the space it touches. Fireflies exist in a delicate harmony with plants that release faint chemical signals at night. These plant-based scents drift through the air and subtly influence where fireflies settle and fly. The meadow becomes a quiet web of invisible messages that guide their movement without sound or sight. Fireflies do not fight gravity when they descend. Their downward movement is slow and compliant. When they drift toward the ground, they do not drop abruptly. They fall in soft arcs, guided by air resistance and wing control. Their descent mirrors the calm with which leaves settle from trees rather than the sharp fall of stones. Fireflies never remain fully alert for long stretches. Their nervous systems are tuned for intermittent awareness rather than constant vigilance. Between blinks and between flights, their bodies enter micro-rest states where perception softens. These brief internal pauses allow their entire being to remain calm even during activity. Fireflies do not carry memory of fear from one evening to the next. Their responses are immediate and physical rather than emotional. A disturbance might silence their glow briefly, but when the environment calms again, they return without hesitation. Their life is guided by present conditions rather than stored anxiety. Fireflies move through shadow with trust rather than caution. They do not hesitate before crossing dark spaces because darkness is their natural medium. The absence of light does not signal danger to them, it signals home. Their glow exists not to escape darkness but to complete it. Fireflies remind the observing mind that gentleness can be powerful without being forceful. Their presence changes the feeling of entire landscapes without altering a single stone or leaf. They reshape mood rather than matter. Their power lives entirely within perception rather than impact. Fireflies do not announce the end of the night when they disappear. Their retreat happens so gradually that one often does not notice the moment the final glow fades. Only later does the stillness feel slightly deeper. Their absence arrives as quietly as their presence once did. As the quiet glow of the fireflies begins to thin and the last soft lights drift back into shadow, allow yourself to sink even deeper into the calm that has settled around you. The meadow grows darker again. The air cools. The gentle rhythm of blinking fades into memory. What remains is the stillness they leave behind, wide and peaceful, like the space that lingers after a final note of music dissolves into silence. Fireflies remind us that light does not need to be loud to be meaningful, that presence does not need to be constant to be powerful. Their brief, gentle glows reshape entire nights without forcing attention, without urgency, without demand. They arrive softly, they leave softly, and in between they teach the mind how to move slowly again, how to rest inside small moments, how to exist without pressure. Now let that same softness drift through your body. Let your breath slow a little more. Let the weight of your thoughts grow lighter. You do not need to hold on to the glow anymore. You do not need to follow the movement. The night can carry everything for you now. The darkness is safe. The stillness is steady. The silence is wide. Thank you for spending this quiet time with the sleepy scientist. If these gentle stories of nature help you find rest, you're always welcome to return whenever the world feels too bright or too fast. For now, let the fireflies fade from your imagination the way they fade from the meadow, slowly, softly, without effort. May your sleep be deep, may your dreams be gentle, and may your night be as calm as a single drifting light in a warm summer dark. Good night.